I'm about to show you the most effective way to scrape and verify over 10,000 SaaS companies with contacts in under 10 minutes using just 4 simple tools. Now, we've used this exact strategy to acquire many of our clients today, as well as helping those clients generate over $3 million in direct revenue from this specific strategy. So without further ado, go ahead and throw that timer on and let's jump right into it. So for anybody that is looking for the guide here, I did prepare one and I will be dropping it in the description below with step-by-step instructions, but essentially there's going to be 4 different tools that we're going to want to use for this specific example here. The tech stack needed is going to be a Crunchbase Pro account, an Apollo.io account. You don't need an account for export lists because it's simply a third-party scraper that allows you to pull contacts and lead lists from Apollo for cheap. It's very affordable because Apollo does have some export limits. But then lastly is just millionverifier.com, which is how we're going to validate and verify that the emails are active and that they're not going to bounce. You could use other tools here, but for this specific example, this is the tech stack that's needed. Million Verifier, you could change that and use Zero Bounce or a different email validation tool. But I'm going to quickly go through this guide and then I'm going to show you the live example. Step 1 is going to be going over to Crunchbase to essentially identify the software companies, the SaaS companies that we want to target. And you're going to want to build a list of SaaS companies directly within Crunchbase. And you're going to get that data and export it. And essentially what we're looking to have here is just the company website URLs of those SaaS companies. Once you've gotten those SaaS company website URLs, then you can bring that into Apollo.io and essentially just find the contacts that you're looking to reach out to from those specific SaaS companies. So Crunchbase is to find the companies. Apollo is going to be to find the contacts within those companies. Exportlist.io is just a shortcut way to export a lot of leads and a big lead list in high volume for very cheap, very affordable, because Apollo does have some limitations on how many contacts you could actually export from the system at once. And then Million Verifier is just the cherry on top, simply just verifying your lead list and making sure that the contacts you're reaching out to do exist, the emails are active, and you're not going to suffer from high bounce rates. But let's go ahead and jump into Crunchbase. So for those who don't know Crunchbase, it's an outstanding platform if you're really, and I specifically like using it when I'm going after software companies or SaaS companies. The reason being is it's got way more information than you'll find on most databases. So, specifically if you're going after SaaS companies and you want to find information on who their investors are or whether they got funded recently, or maybe they participated at specific events or went to any conferences, or maybe they recently went through an acquisition or got acquired, Crunchbase is going to be really great for all that data. And they've also got extra filters that you're not going to find if you're just going to a platform like Apollo from the beginning. So the reason we go to Crunchbase is because we want to make sure that the companies are spot on accurate with who my ideal target persona is. And then you could find the email addresses in other platforms here. So similar to other databases, you're going to have these different filters here. You could search companies by keywords, by their headquarter location, by industry, number of employees, date that they were founded. You could filter and see if they're actively hiring or maybe they participated in a specific event or a conference. You can also view their financial data. So maybe they had a funding round that was recent, or maybe they if you want to search by specific investors, you can do that within Crunchbase, or maybe you're looking to see if they have shared investors with another company. Filter by revenue. We will use this little segment here just to build out lists and segment those lists. And then lastly, there's partner fillers. So if you're looking to view companies that have a specific amount of website visitors, they have an integration with SEMrush, so you could actually filter by that as well. Or if you want to find companies that talk about specific topics through Bombora, then you can also plug those topics in here. But we're going to keep today's demonstration very simple, and we're just going to go ahead and go to this industry tab and search for SaaS companies. And what's great is Crunchbase actually has a SaaS filter specifically. And if I click on that, automatically 36,000 software as a service companies pop up here. And I want to go ahead and filter by companies in the United States. So I'll plug that in, and now we can see that the list has narrowed down to about 15,000 SaaS companies in the United States. One of the limitations with Crunchbase is that they do limit you to only having 1,000 companies per list. So what we're going to have to do here is build out a bunch of lists of 1,000 companies to essentially export off of Crunchbase. And once we've exported those companies off Crunchbase, we're simply going to take that company website from each of those 10,000 companies and we're going to bring it into Apollo to find the contacts, the point of contacts that we actually want to reach out to for our campaign. So follow the steps here. We are going to, save this to a list right here. We're going to create a new list, save entries as a list. I'm going to turn off these alerts, but you could have alerts sent to you on a weekly basis or a daily basis of any updates that are going on with the companies that you've selected. I'm just going to label this SaaS L1, and I'm going to press save, create. So now I've got 1,000 companies here, and I'm just going to click back. And now what we're going to do is the same exact thing. So we could see there's still 15,000 companies. I want to make sure that I'm removing the companies that I just plugged in because I don't want to have any duplicate data. So what I'll do is exclude from SaaS list 1. And now we'll see that the number drops down to 13,878. So you're going to follow the same step. Make sure that you're selecting all 1,000 results. And we're going to save this as list 2. Again, I'm going to turn off these alerts. You are more than welcome to keep those alerts on. I just don't want to get too many email notifications. SaaS L2, I'm going to click create. And now you simply just want to go ahead and do that on repeat until you have the amount of companies that you're looking for. In this case, I would do that up to 10,000 companies. So I would go ahead and follow that same exact process where I'm saving the list of 1,000 companies, then excluding it, and I do it 10 times. And then once you have your 10 lists of 1,000 companies, we're going to migrate over to all lists here, and we're going to find the list that I have, so that I just created. So SaaS list 1, SaaS list 2, and you would simply have 3 through 8 all down here as well. And what you're going to want to do is you want to click edit view, and you want to make sure that if everything that you're exporting, the most important thing is going to be the website. So make sure that you apply those changes, and then you're going to click export 1,000 results, title your list, you go ahead and export it, and you're going to want to do this for all 10 lists that you have. And for the first list, you create your CSV file, and now you have a lead list of 1,000 companies. For the other groups, the other batches of 1,000 companies up to the 10,000 SaaS companies that we're exporting, you're simply just going to export them and then append the next batch onto the original one until you eventually just have a list of companies that looks like this. So here we could see, and you could configure what fields and columns you actually want to export from Crunchbase. But essentially, you're going to have a nice list that looks like this. If we scroll on down below, we can see that we've got over 9,000 contacts here, but build the list as big as you want. The reason why I cut it off right below 10,000 is because what we're going to do now, the most important data field, now that you've identified the companies that you're reaching out to, we want to go ahead and find the contacts from within those companies and get the email addresses so we could push them into our campaign and reach out with our offer. So what we're going to do is copy all of these website URLs. And now we're going to come into Apollo. Apollo is just another B2B database. This is where we're actually going to be finding the companies we're looking for. I'll clear these search filters so we can actually start it from scratch. And where we're going to want to go is we have those companies that we have copied, and now we want to go ahead and just paste them right here into this company tab, include, exclude list of companies. I will click search, and now Apollo is only going to show me contacts that are from within those 10,000 companies that I got from Crunchbase. So it's laser targeted. And then what you want to do is filter by job titles and the people that you actually want to go for. We could see that there's 940,000 contacts here. That's because we do have some massive companies in here, like Amazon with 1.5 million contacts. So if you did want to go ahead and filter by employee count, we could add some different filters here. And I could say, let's only go after companies that, maybe are under 500 employees. And then for the job titles, I'm going to plug in that I'm going after owner, founder, because if I'm doing lead generation services, maybe these are the only people I want to talk to. And this is just a demonstration here. Head of sales, VP of sales, president. And you'll just build out your list here. And here we can see that I've got 13,500 companies. You could go ahead and fine tune that as much as you want. But once your lead list is built out, you're happy with the contacts, and you've scrolled through these to make sure that everybody is in line with prospects that you'd want to reach out to, you simply copy this browser URL and head on over to the third tool that I mentioned, which is exportlist.io. And it's an Apollo scraper. So it takes about 20 minutes and they'll deliver your lead list for super, super cheap. When you're trying to do it directly from within Apollo, I could not just go and export all 13,000 companies. Apollo won't let me do so. So I like using this tool, and I'll paste my URL here. I'll just say, call the list, Crunchbase SaaS company contacts. And then you go and select however many contacts you're looking for. 10,000 in this case is what I want. You click submit your order, and then it's just going to bring you to the checkout cart where you're going to plug in your details. But look, 10,000 contacts for only $30, super cheap. I highly recommend going with this strategy. And once you submit it, you're going to get a lead list that is going to look something similar to this. It's just going to be, a CSV file. You're going to have their LinkedIn profile, their contact information, email address. However, this lead list, although it looks like it's ready to rock and roll, you do need to do one last step, which is verify your contacts. And how we're going to do that is we simply download this CSV file. And you want to make sure, because some of these contacts, although they have an email address, it might not be active. And if you send emails to email addresses that are not active, there's a high likelihood that your emails are going to bounce. And the more bounces that you have, the lower your reputation on your email accounts and your domain is. And deliverability just goes down, and people don't actually see your emails because you burned your domain. So you head on over here to millionverifier.com, drag and drop your CSV file, and then you would just go ahead and start to run your list. Looks like I didn't pull the entire list, but essentially you want to drag and drop your list here. And the way that the results are going to come back is you're going to get emails that say that they're good. These are safe to send emails to. Risky, these are emails that can't necessarily be verified. If you did want, and you could send emails to them, but you're still probably going to have some bounces. I always recommend running those risky emails through another tool called scrubby.io, which we could see here. But the good emails, they're good to send emails to. The bad emails, remove those from your lead list. Do not contact them because they won't actually get the email, and you're going to ruin your domain and your email account's health. And all of your campaigns moving forward are just going to be really suffering because they're not landing in the inbox. But that's really it. I've outlined all of the details, throughout this guide here. Again, I'm going to share it in the description below, but that is how you can scrape and verify 10,000 SaaS companies with contacts in under 10 minutes. And it's the most effective strategies, as I mentioned. Now, if you follow these exact steps that I just showed you, I guarantee you that you'll see improvement in both your targeting and in the quality of the lead list that you're building out. And you've got to remember, though, that this is really just the first step in the process of crafting good campaigns and having successful outreach through cold email. If you don't want to have to do all this yourself and you'd rather have an expert do it completely for you on a pay-per-call basis, then book a time in. Let's have a conversation. We'll see if we can help you out. Outside of that, hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll see you in this video.